so that you can build up one after another social businesses in a permanent way, so that it creates a structure in a permanent way, solve all the problems of Haiti along the way. And not in day one, everything will not be solved, but if you created a fund which will invest in social businesses, you start a process, which is a lasting and growing process, and if it is successful, it will touch everybody's life over time. So many people responded very positively, so we created that fund, Haiti, Social Business Fund for Haiti. And we are starting the program in Haiti to bring technology, to bring job creation opportunity, change the structure of agriculture in a social business way, not to make money out of them, but to solve the problem there. And do the afforestation. Haiti has almost became barren. It's a beautiful island. It could be covered with trees as a social business. It's a very attractive social business to do the forestry and so on. So there are a lot. Transportation could be another social business. And there's a series of things one can do. So this is what we are looking forward. So coming back, so the economic crisis, the financial crisis, with the social crisis, with the food crisis, all the crises that we are carrying with us, it tells you something. There is some fundamental flaw in our theory, conceptual framework. We are not looking at that. We are trying to solve in a band-aid fashion, fix it, throw some money. Like Europe has just decided to give $1 trillion bailout. Trillion dollar bailout. It's easy. But to talk about why we did that, governments pushed out a lot of money to solve problem with the government subsidy and so on. It didn't carry us to the result. So if you had created something institutional which sustains itself, it will not be this crisis. And only thing that is because the fundamental flaw in our thinking, in our structure and the concept. If you do not address the fundamental flaw, we'll up for many more trouble. So this is a good time, the crisis time is a good time to address that fundamental flaw. And I'm suggesting that restructuring, redesigning the conceptual framework, economic theory, so that we can put this idea of social business at par with the profit-making business. And probably that will help us a lot in redirecting our energy and creativity and our technology in addressing the issues that we have piled up over years. And that is the subject matter of the book. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you.
We've got time for some questions, and I think we have 2 floor mics. If you'll line up at the mics, and Yunus will answer the questions, and then we'll do the book signing. So please go to the mics because we're on C-SPAN. So the mics are here and here. Mike and Deanne are going to be on the mics. Book signing will queue up on this side and walk through to sign. If you'll look in your books, most of the books are already signed. We don't have time for personalization, so if your book is not signed, we'll do that after the questions. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'll start. Thank you very much for the talk. It was extremely inspiring, particularly for those of us that studied economics and felt something was wrong the whole time. I have a question. I read a little bit of your book so far and noticed that there were a lot of European companies, French and German. And I'm not sure how much you get into this in the book, but I sense a serious cultural resistance to what you're saying. Particularly, focused in Wall Street, but largely in a capitalist nation, individualized nation, there might be some problems with this notion of selflessness because all of our training and our education is geared towards take care of yourself first, then take care of the rest of the world. And those of us that have been bridging 2 worlds, I come from Iran, which is very socialist and communalist oriented, we're always battling with what's the right way to go. I think you've got a good theory for it. It's both. But I just wonder about how you expect to sort of discuss this with American companies, perhaps, and cultures that are less amenable to it, perhaps.
Well, a quick response to that would be, I assume that all human beings carry the same kind of feelings. There's no distinction between one country to another country. But there is distinction in the way you grow up, environment in which you grow up. that may emphasize one or the other more or less kind of thing. But once we emphasize on making money a lot, so we are kind of built by putting some glasses, profit-maximizing glasses in our eyes. So we see the world in a profit-maximizing way. We cannot, if you say, no, there's another kind, we can't believe that because we have the glasses on. So what I'm trying to make an effort that can we take these glasses off for a while, just as a trial basis, and put on the social business glasses on, then you see the world completely differently. Then you become aware. So I'm not saying this person, because he or she has that glasses, he is completely done with. It's not. It's simply waiting for an experience. Once that experience comes, she becomes or he becomes the same human being as anybody else. So this is the process that we go through. So I will not say that is permanently done in one way or another. It's a transformation because once the structure of the economy, structure of the theory is done in one way, you believe in that and you behave like that. So that's why it's very fundamental that we go back to the conceptual framework in order to do that. Now we can do that, but as a rebellious action. That I don't believe in what you're doing. I do that. So it doesn't have to be rebellious. You have to this thing gives people option. I'm not saying close down the profit maximization. That's not what I said for a moment. I said there is another kind of business. You can do it too. It's an option. If you want to, you can do that. And many people will do that after you become aware. Yes, it sounds good. I can do that. Particularly young people whose mindset is still not solidified yet. Because if you are in the senior position, you got absorbed into it, you've argued about it, and you believe in it, what you're saying. So it's not very easy to go back to the 0 point. So for young people, it's possible. That's why young people get very excited. They want to touch people's lives. They want to create a new kind of world, which is not possible with the structure that we have. What do we tell young people? Have a good degree and a good job. And good job means go somewhere, make the owners of the company make more money. That's it. Is this what the world life is all about? They don't believe it anymore. So they are looking for options. This gives an option.
I'm sorry. Could you talk a little bit about the leadership difference on corporations? Here, it's a top-down mentality. How does someone develop, like a problem occurs? How do they solution it in the leadership within the companies of social business?
Same people. When we did with the Danone or Veolia or anybody, these are the same people who work for the profit-making part of Veolia come with us, work for social business, and they get very excited about it. One of them was saying that I'm stopped at the corridor in my office every time. Somebody will say, oh, you're doing a great job. Can you get me involved into this? These are the people who run the regular money-making business. But the fact that this person works something in Bangladesh and it excited everybody in this office, at the corridor, they stop you, they start talking to you to get an opportunity to get involved in that kind of thing. So it's the same person. Given the opportunity, it comes out. The person who, from the Danone side, who was the most active in creating this was the chairman himself, Frank Ribot. So same leader who makes billions of dollars profit, and the same guy who does a social business with a lot of enthusiasm, lots of gusto, and all his associates are equally enthusiastic about it. So I wouldn't say that there is any difference in that. It's a question of, again, to getting into your mind. So if my friend, another CEO of another company is doing it, then I start thinking, hey, I should be doing better than him.
Yeah.
What does he think of himself?
It's the salary difference. I'm
No,
going to make as much.
No, it's not the salary thing which is kind of exciting people. It's the thing that I'm touching people's, I'm solving a problem which was never solved before. That's the most exciting part of it, that I can do it. Yeah.
Good morning, Dr.
Good morning.
Yunus.
Okay.
Thank you very much for being here today with us. My question is about impact and measuring the results. There are a lot of good theories and lots of great programs in the world today, But I think what's important is to know, what are the results of the programs? What are the impacts that it's actually having? And I think if we can prove this, then we can convince more people, more CEOs, that this really does work. So what are your ideas on impact?
Well, again, to be specific, like in Grameen Danone, we produce yogurt. And that's a social business. But many other people will be producing yogurt for making money. So it's a money-making yogurt company. If you are owner of that company, you'll be asking at the end of the year, your CEO, how much money we made this year. In a social business yogurt company, you'll be asking your CEO how many children got out of malnutrition. So he has to report, because that's the purpose of the company. So what you say, impact, that's built into the company itself. Otherwise, that company would not have come. First, the company has to have a problem to solve. You've defined the problem. And then when you design it, you have to answer the question how you're solving that problem, at what speed you're solving the problem. When the CEO says X number of children got out of malnutrition this year, then the board will say, oh, you should do better than that. Why don't you try to do twice as much next year? What do you need? You need money, you need our support. So, okay, let's talk about it. How to make double the size of impact. So this is how impact is a part of that business. It's not a separate, I make money and then find out how many people got jobs. Because that's not what I intended. I intended to make money. So then as a side question, I'm asking, did we create some jobs in this? How many? But we don't want to give away our profit part of it. The impact comes as a side story. Here is the prime story. That's the only story that you figure. In Veolia, in water, you find out how many people are drinking safe drinking water, because that's the company CEO has to report. If it's a social business, whether you're achieving the goal or not, this is essential. Otherwise, it's not a social business. You are not achieving the goal. In mosquito net, how many people are using? How many, whether a whole village or whole community is free from malaria now? There used to be malaria patients in this village or in this cluster of villages, so many per year. This year, there isn't any. That's the result. Because that's the company is working for. Not for making money out of the mosquito net. The whole purpose is to see that nobody gets into malaria or dengue or such other fever. And that's a problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There's an Indian economist named Ratan Lal Basu who says that our notion of development is incomplete because it doesn't count for the moral and spiritual development as well. And I would argue that goes for the giver as well as the receiver. I'd be interested if you could comment on any transformation you've seen within the business people that you're working with on these projects.
In a profit maximizing, it becomes clouded a little bit, because no matter what you say, we are social, we help people and so on, because the company's performance is evaluated by the industry by looking at the Wall Street results. What is in the stock market you're gaining or you're losing and so on. And that losing and gaining comes whether this company has a good prospect of giving you a bigger dividend or lesser dividend and so on. So ultimately it goes back to that. The rest is, most of the time, is window dressing. That, okay, we are also helping people. See how good we are doing this thing too. But the ultimate thing, the CEOs are graded how much money you made for the shareholders. So that way, other views get lost. But social business, it's a package. Because what good is helping people to get children get out of malnutrition if they are not doing the next thing in a better way, building a better life? To give an example, a specific example in Grameen Danone, because we faced it very clearly. When they first brought this container, which has the yogurt, I asked the question, what kind of material are you using for the container? I said, well, this is a plastic that we use everywhere in the world. I said, in social business, plastic is not allowed. They said, well, how come? We do it everywhere. I said, everywhere you're a profit maker. Here you're a social business. So it may be a small company, very tiny little company here, but it's a social business. You do not want to do things which is not social. So plastic will be not social. So they said, what do we do? I said, you find biodegradable material to do that. We don't want to see whole Bangladesh littered with these plastic containers all over the place. They were very unhappy with that because they thought everything is set. Now I have upset them.